thought-provoking conversations with the people shaping our country. We uncover stories behind the headlines with influential voices from the Philippines and beyond. This is Manila Bulletin's The Sit Down.
Welcome to a very special edition of The Sit Down by the Manila Bulletin. I'm your host, Jane King-Su Cheng. We're sitting down with Patrick Fernandez, one of the country's leading experts in Feng Shui and Chinese astrology, to break down what 2026 has in store for the economy, for our careers, and of course, for each of the 12 animal signs. Welcome to The Sit Down, Patrick.
Sure. So before we begin, just want to greet everyone. Happy New Year. Kong hei fat choi, kyong hei wat sai. Wishing everyone a great start of the new year.
Yin and Yang Shop of Harmony has become well known in the Feng Shui community, as you've mentioned. You're going on your 30th year next year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell us more about what it represents for you and for your clients? Like why they come in, what they feel when they come in, when they talk to you. Can you share more of that?
Sure. So I'd say at the very core of it, we're a family business. And if you ask, the Filipino-Chinese generation today and the previous generations, there's a good chance if they have a business, it's a family business. And for us, that's what the core really is. It's about building a community. And it's our kind of like our extended family. So in terms of what we do, our core is really around what we'd call consultations. And this is on both their personal luck and also luck for their office or their home. So we have usually our clients come in and it's about an hour long where we would talk about any issues they're facing, how the new year is going to look for them, and then any items that they can put or arrange your home so that it's good for the new year coming through. Beyond that, we've also expanded, usually around Chinese New Year, into things with the media. So either podcasts or TV interviews, and that's really for us to help educate a broad audience on what Feng Shui is, what it's not, and how people can apply very practical tips to bring in luck for their lives. We also do corporate events, so we partner with banks, real estate companies, etc. And this is usually for an audience that is a private wealth clients or homeowners, just to help guide them about what businesses could be lucky for the coming year, what things could be applied in terms of just practical tips for their employees, for themselves, for their careers. And we also have celebrations. Like every year we host a New Year celebration that is like a salubong. It's around midnight that brings in the luck for the year. So we have our lucky meal, we have the dragon dance, the lion dance, a full program. And we do that pretty much every year. So altogether, that really, I think, for us brings a sense of community around how to bring in the best luck to welcome in the year. Yeah.
I feel it's really a community. It's like an extended family.
Yes,
like
yes.
Us, when we see each other,
yes,
we go
I know.
somewhere to
Every
catch
year,
up.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, like for example, when we have our New Year event, it's like we know everyone there.
Yes.
And apart from that, we also know their stories. So that makes it exciting because then we're able to track year over year, like what's happening in their lives and even like the next generation.
And it's
So
also a sense of fulfillment to see them grow, right?
yes, yes. At the end of the day, for me, like really the value that I see is this is one lens of how to view yourself, how to view your relationship with others and with the world. So if this can bring some insight that you may not previously had, that's going to help you with some ideas or some approaches to life that will improve your life. I think for me that fulfills its purpose already. So
2026 is the year of the fire horse. Can you share what this means for us? How would you describe the overall vibe of this year, especially compared to the year of the snake?
sure. So there's 5 elements in the structure of the universe. We call it Wuxing, which is water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And that's what we call like the heavenly branch of the year. And then there's also the earthly branch, which is the 12 zodiac animals. So it really depends on the interaction between the element and the animal. Last year, for the past couple of years, were the wood years. This year and the next year is going to be fire. So what that means is the interaction of this yang fire energy and the energy of the horse, which coincidentally is also a fire element. In the 12 zodiac signs, the horse is right in the middle. It's sign number 7. And it's direct opposite to the rat. Rat represents winter, and the horse represents summer. So all that together, there's going to be a yang fire, and then the fire of the horse. Put that together, there's going to be a lot of fire. So this is what it means. On the yang fire side first, it's going to be a year of intensity. So yang fire is kind of like the sun. Things are going to be very, in all aspects of life, very intense, very passionate. So it's also good for creative fields, the arts, culture, entertainment, and in general, like even in the corporate landscape or for businesses, creativity can also be seen as innovation. So it's a new way of having a product or a service that can address an existing problem or an existing need. So it's a good time for companies to innovate next year. It's also going to be a year of illumination and confrontation. And what that means is, if you imagine the sun, it doesn't leave any shadows, right? So it illuminates everything. So all issues will come to light, which could bring confrontation. And this could be in different realms, like with relationships or in businesses, or, in many different realms. So that's something that's going to be a hallmark energy for this coming year as well. And then for the horse, in terms of characteristics, the horses tend to be very fast-moving and also independent. So there's going to be a tendency for people to just kind of do things on their own without really waiting. And that's going to be another hallmark for the year. Put that together, the yang fire energy is going to be very energetic. So it's not going to be like a marathon. It's going to be a lot of different sprints. Just like a horse running, then it stops, it runs, and it stops. What that also signifies is just overall the energy is going to be unsustainable because, again, of the stop and go. Yeah. It's going to be short bursts that is going to be a hallmark of different aspects as well. And lastly, it's going to be a year of impulse. So thinking, people would say things they might not have really thought of, or do things that may not have been well thought out. Like quick tempers as well. So that's going to be another hallmark of the year. So overall, it's going to be a little bit more energetic, going to be a little bit more fast-moving than the previous years.
So compared to Year of the Snake, how was it like?
Yeah, the Year of the Snake, in contrast, would maybe a little bit more collaborative, a little bit more calm and peaceful, like a supportive type of energy, because the snake is also a fire animal. But it complements with the yin wood, which was 2025. This year is going to be like a double fire. Yeah. So it's kind of like fire that compounds on itself. So again, it's going to be very intense. And this only happens like once every 60 years. So this is a year to be of note. Last time this happened was 1966. So yeah.
Any notable moments during that we should expect that would happen now?
Yeah, interestingly, and this is it's well documented in Japan in 1966. So, and again, very different time and culture, but it was seen then that women should have a certain place in society. And usually people who were said to be born in the year of the fire horse would be a little bit more independent, open-minded, all the characteristics we discussed earlier. So in Japan, there was a statistically significant dip in the birth rate in 1966. Oh, wow. And then it picked up again in 1967. So in terms of, how...
Family planning.
Exactly, how astrology and so on influences the social norms. That's a very clear example. It's been well documented in many different places. So anyway, yeah, fortunately in our society today, it's a little different, right? So kids born today, they say the tendency is they're going to be a lot more independent, a lot more, they'll forge their own path. They could be a lot more energetic, their own person, but then they could also be like quick-tempered. So, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so this year carries like you mentioned, this year carries a double fire element. In real life, what does that mean for people navigating careers, relationships, and decision-making? So that's actually my follow-up question with what you just said. So sure. Based on everything, is this good or bad? How do we handle all these?
Sure. So let's unpack that. First, for careers, if you leverage this energy of very quick bursts, it's a good time for rapid experimentation. So when I used to work in Silicon Valley, they would say, fail fast, learn fast. You can have many different ideas, but if they're all in your head, you'll never really know. So they say, just try it out. And then at the very least, you're going to learn what's going to do well and what's not going to do well. So this is going to be a good time for that.
Experiment.
Exactly. And then if you have quick winners, go with them. If not, just keep churning the ideas, leverage that creativity and so on, right?
This year carries a double fire element, as you mentioned. So in real life, what does that mean for people navigating careers, relationships, and decision making?
Sure. So I'd say let's unpack that in terms of the different aspects. So in terms of career, it's going to be a year of quick wins and quick learning. So back when I used to work in Silicon Valley, we would say fail fast, learn fast. And the only way you would actually learn is by trying things out versus just having the ideas in your head. So it's a good chance for businesses and even for people in their careers to try out different things. And then if it's not working out, pivot. And then just keep doing that. In terms of relationships, on the flip side, it's also good to be very passionate with your loved ones, be it filial love, like with your family, with your romantic partner, and so even with like colleagues, for example. So it's a good chance to really show your emotions, wear your heart on your sleeve, and then be a little bit more expressive this year. They say there's the 5 languages of love. So find out for your loved ones. Each one's going to have a different language. How do they want to be spoken to? And then do that and speak that language for the year, be it giving gifts, spending time, etc. And then for decision making, with that energy of being impulsive, I would say before you make any decision, important or even something that may have long-lasting effects, give it some thought, take a pause, think before you say something. If you need to sleep on it, talk to other people, trusted confidants, do that. The worst thing is you make a decision, you act on it without really giving it the right amount of thought. And this is for everyone, people in companies, in businesses, leaders, in the public space, and even within the family. Anywhere you can temper your impulses, that should be done next year.
So like you said, there will be a lot of revelations. So I think this is where it'll come out.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of illumination and confrontation. That's going to be a theme for the year.
Which is also a kind of a tug of war because it's impulse versus...
Yeah, exactly. So now it's going to be this chain of events where issues come to light. There's going to be confrontation. And then the question is, how should you how should you handle it exactly? Don't get too emotional. Approach it in a very rational and methodical way.
Okay, we'll take note of that. Fire brings visibility and momentum, but also burnt out. How can people harness this energy without being impulsive or overwhelmed, like what we just talked about?
Yeah, so I would say it's all about balance. At the very core of Feng Shui or the zodiac, astrology, etc., it's all about qi, life energy, and it manifests in different ways. And the very core principle here is the yin and the yang. It's all about balance. So if we think of the different aspects of our life, be it for our money luck, for our career, our health, our relationships, try to balance as much as you can all of those different things. Don't give too much importance to any given one thing. And it's up to you where to draw that balance, where you are in life. But if you neglect or don't do something of any of those four, something's going to give at some point in your life. So be intense in one thing, but don't forget the others, and then just try to balance it as much as you can.
Make sure to give focus on each of them.
Exactly, and that should avoid burnout, that should avoid fatigue, and so on. So
it's mentioned that water associated with wealth flow is missing in the 2026 chart. What are your practical recommendations for introducing water into our professional or business lives?
Sure. So in terms on the Feng Shui side, which has to do with placement of things around the office, around your home, moving water is one very powerful tool that you can use to activate the good energies. So in a bit, we'll go into like what those different areas are, but say in the center of the home or office right now, for this coming year will be the relationship or romance luck. If you have moving water, be it in the form of a fountain, an aquarium, even like a humidifier, some people say even like a water, like a water cooler, anything with moving water, You can put that in the middle of your home to spur or to activate the relationship or romance luck. And again, this could be something you already have at your home. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. If it's already there, you can just rearrange it. And that's what we say. Like Feng Shui is very practical. You don't have to, in a way, change or buy a lot of things. At the very least, you can use the right elements and the right activities to activate your luck for your home or office. And moving water is very powerful. Interestingly, for moving water, like the notion of fountain. So with Feng Shui, we know this concept today, but the rationale of why has been lost over the years and centuries. So on the scientific lens, moving water actually stimulates oxidants. So if we think of the oxidation process, this is antioxidants that will help reduce the antioxidants in our body, which reduces our cell stress and fatigue. And this is just going to be in the air if you have moving water. So this is basically one of the real reasons why moving water is helpful, apart from the flow, the sound, the movement. It also has a health benefit. So again, Feng Shui is very practical, but the meaning has been lost over the years.
So when you say well, I've had like friends, but they have aquariums outside. Is that considered, or it should be really inside the house?
Actually, it depends. For certain homes, like the outside is kind of blended in to the home, so it becomes one big structure. And then it's just a matter of finding what that sector is, if it's in the west or the northeast, and then based on the Feng Shui of the year, then we would say put it there or keep it there, or if not, if you have a chance to move it somewhere else to activate something, you can do that.
So every year before the start of the next animal sign, we should have like a session with you and where to put it, because every year you have to move it around.
So there's certain areas that are going to be good, and there's certain areas that are not so good. So we say usually it's around February 4. That's the start of the Litsun, which is the start of spring. So after that, that's where we publish a guide to say this is now where the good areas are and the not so good ones, and you should activate these, and the other ones that are not so good, try to avoid or subdue the energies there so that it won't get stimulated.
But it's also depending on your sign, right? It's not like a general.
This one is going to be for everyone.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So there's certain signs that, for example, may need it a little bit more, but it's going to be for everyone. So let's say if you want to avoid the sickness energy or money outflows or conflicts, we say, try to lower the energies in that area. And then for the other areas, you can activate it.
So where do you publish it so they'll know where to check it out?
Sure. So we have it's our version of the Tongshu, which has the forecast for each animal sign and also the diary of what to do, what not to do for each day of the year. And we also have a guide there as to what are the lucky and not so lucky directions. So here at our shop at New World, our Yin and Yang Shop of Harmony, we have this guide every year that we publish. And it's going to be good for the whole year. And then we publish it every year.
So you buy it here. It's not available online.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's out by Feb 4th. Also related to money and work, what does Feng Shui say about money and career prospects this year? Who needs to be more cautious and who can take bolder steps?
Sure. So with all the different aspects, there's going to be what we call the above average luck signs. So for money, for example, this year in terms of prosperity luck, the ones with above average luck would be the rabbit, the horse, the pig, and the rooster. So these are the signs that can be a little bit more less conservative, a little bit more bold when it comes to their investments, when it comes to growing assets, property, and so on. In terms of career, if you want to move, if you want to go lateral, if you want that promotion, the ones with above average luck are going to be the rabbit, the goat, the dog, and the rooster. So these are the ones who can aim for that advancement, aim for that promotion, do cross-functional projects, put yourself out there.
Be more confident.
Exactly. This is the year for good visibility and so on. And then in terms of if you're a leader or if you own a business, this is a good year to really put your stamp on your leadership style, and to grow your influencer sphere. So if you're in the corporate world, it could mean moving up even higher or increasing your scope. In the business world, it's good for expansion because this is you claiming dominion over a certain area. Or it could be where you look at a new market or a new product line or service. So the ones with this particular luck this year would be the ox, the rat, the horse, and the dog. So for those four, it's going to be good. So in terms of career, we would say everyone has some type of career luck. Some may not have it as much this year, but those are the signs that would be above average.
So for the ones that are below the line,
Yeah.
any tips?
Sure. So two things. We say whenever energies come in, there's two ways to address it, internal and external. Internally would be what your mindset is. So you say if it's not as good this year, maybe the luck, and our analogy there is like it's either a headwind that prevents you from going somewhere, or it's a tailwind that helps you in your journey. If there's a little bit more headwind, maybe just double your effort. And nothing's going to be impossible. It's something that you'll be able to get, but might take a little bit more effort, but nothing's impossible. Yeah.
Good to know that. You just need to focus more and work on your goals. So
Correct.
For business owners and entrepreneurs, what Feng Shui adjustments can help attract growth or stability this year? I think it's kind of related, yeah.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of activating luck, again, for these lucky sectors, there's some simple ways that you can employ or that you can do to activate it. One is just spending time there. So for example, like this year, if the West is lucky for wealth, if you have an option to move your desk there or where you spend a lot of time, move it to the West this year. And then sometimes in the home or office, there might be doors that, multiple doors. So if you have the option to use this door more than the other one, do that this year. And then there's also a way that you can put things that would activate the luck. So we talked about the moving water. Another popular thing that people put are plants or flowers, because these are living things and they grow naturally. And plants also have the health benefits of helping with the oxygen, taking carbon dioxide, etc. So plants have a very special role in Feng Shui because they both absorb negative energy and they give positive energy. So that's one of the almost like the hacks. But then for plants, don't put too much, because sometimes if there's too much, it's going to be suffocating.
Yes.
So again, it's all about balance. Just put the right amount of plants there. You can also put moving things like clocks with the hand versus the digital one, because those are moving. And then even like sound energy, like you can put speakers there because that would stimulate. Again, very practical things that you can just rearrange. So for the wealth energies here, it's going to be in the east and also in the southeast. So for there, what you can do is put all these things that we mentioned earlier, and then you can activate your money luck for the year.
I'm curious about the sound energy. What kind of sounds do you play?
Anything that's calming.
Ambient, ganon, calming?
It could be any sound.
Okay.
As long as it's nothing that would disturb you.
Helps you with whatever you're doing that time.
And different people are different. You can put, if you want dance music, because that's your mood. If you want to be calm, you can put meditation music. If you like jazz, you can put it. Whatever helps you with your energy versus takes away from the energy. If it's classical music, but you don't like classical music, then no. Yeah. So it's up. It's up to you. Yeah.
Is this a good year to invest, change jobs, or start something new? Or is it patience the better strategy?
Yes, I would say if you're in one of the signs earlier, we mentioned for money, for career, this is a good year to be bolder. So if you wanted to change job, go for that promotion, this is a good year where the tailwinds are going to help you propel forward. If you're in the signs that are maybe not as good, you can still do it, just might be a little harder. But if you're already in one of those signs with that above average luck, take advantage of it, because again, as the cycles turn, if you know it's going to be in your favor, might as well take it, do it that year.
Sorry, I just remember, you mentioned all the ones that should have a better year this year. Yeah. But you didn't mention the ones, is it all the other animals that are part of the lower end, like not so better? So automatic lahat na yun.
Yeah, so in the 12, for example, we usually do it like high, medium, low. So 4 would be high, 4 would be medium, 4 would be low.
Oh.
Yeah, so earlier, yeah, those 4 animals would be like on the high and or above average for wealth, for career, for money. And then on the flip side, there's also some energies that are not as good. So, for example, like for conflict, there are certain signs that are not as, there's going to be some quarrels or some things that they may be dragged into. So for next year, the ones that will have like higher conflict energy would be the ox, the horse, the rabbit, and the monkey. So that one,
conflict energy, it's not.
yeah. So this one, there's going to be more risk of fights, of quarrels, or being dragged into quarrels that you didn't originate. So that's where the conflict energy comes in. So one side is like the harmony energy where you get along with folks. And the flip side is the conflict energy where you may have some fights. The rabbit's interesting. It has this strong relationship energy. It also has a conflict energy. And the reason is it has both this peach blossom and this salty pool star. And peach blossom would attract people. You'd become a little bit more charismatic this year for the opposite gender and your career. But there's also this star that attracts people not good for you. So just be a little bit more mindful if you're a rabbit that not all that glitters may be gold. Yeah.
So are you saying they should lie low?
No. Just be a little bit more judicious. Yeah, because you'll have this attraction energy. So take advantage of that. Just know who you can trust and who are going to be good for you versus not good for you.
I think in general, so far you've been sharing, really have to be more mindful in everything that you do.
Yeah, and I think that's really the message for a lot of the energies. Like if you know what's coming down, like an analogy we use is like the weather. So if you know, for example, the forecast is going to be for the next week, and it's going to like rain in 2 days, and you have some plans, and you can kind of plan around it. You can't stop the rain, but you can plan around it. Yeah, exactly.
Got it. So based on the elements of 2026, which industries or sectors have more potential for growth or breakthroughs? So you mentioned earlier, it's a great time to experiment, to just fail fast, learn fast. So what do you have any tips on which industries or jobs to focus on?
Sure. So for industries, here are some that would have above average luck. Home industries. So this could be for furniture, home design, architecture. That should be above average luck for next year. Also, industries that have to do with fashion, textiles, garments, that's also going to be seen as good. Actually, industries that have to do with following rules and regulations, like the legal industry, accounting, the compliance industry, that seem to do well as well. And then lastly, in terms of just overall the environmental focus and sustainability, ESG, that's going to have above average luck as well next year. And then some other industries that are seen to do well, trading and brokerage. And this could be for physical products or even like for financial products like brokerages, anything that's like fast moving. The industries for logistics, shipping, where you need to move things from one place to the other, deliveries, that's also seen to be good. And my personal favorite, the data and analytics industry, just because they say data is going to be the most valuable currency in this century and even beyond that. So companies that are able to collect, synthesize, analyze, and act on the correct data for their firm or for their industry are the ones who are going to be exactly data-driven strategies. Yeah.
You often emphasize reputation and personal branding. So in the year of the fire horse, how can professionals elevate their visibility and leadership without clashing with others?
Sure. And yeah, this is a great question because it goes to the concept of balance. So one, on visibility, it's leading with visible outputs, meaning you let your work speak for itself. Don't promote yourself, promote the product, promote the service, promote the people that worked on it, the team. It's never about you. Ultimately, all of these things will have an indirect impact on you, but don't try to say it's all about you, but say it's about the output. So that's one. And then try to avoid overexposure as well, so that there's just that right level. On the flip side, we talked about being more independent and fast moving. So you can do that, but then respect the hierarchy. There's a saying, should you when you do something, should you ask for forgiveness or permission? Meaning you do it and then you ask for forgiveness later, or do you ask permission first? Put some balance there. You might think you're the fire horse, just do it. I'll do it and then ask for forgiveness later. Gauge a situation where if it's not respecting the hierarchy of things, then don't do it. Just try to balance where you show you have the initiative and the motivation, but then you're also respecting the natural order. Yeah.
So we're moving on to home, relationships, and health. So the first question is, does this year favor harmony or conflict in relationships? How can people protect their homes from negative energy?
Sure. So there's certain animal signs that are going to be luckier for relationships and love and harmony this year. So these are the ox, the snake, the rooster, and the goat. So this is a good year to find love. If you're looking for love, it's a good year to deepen your relationships. If you're married, have a committed relationship. And even like for family, or let's say at the office, for colleagues or with your employees, it's also a good chance to deepen those bonds. It's about harmony, it's about getting together and then celebrating as as a group. And then the signs, we mentioned earlier that have the conflict star, the ox, the horse, etc. Try to address this. The conflict energy this year is going to be in the west. So look for where the west is in your home. And again, you just get a compass and then find out where west is. So in a simple sense, this is where the sun would be setting. Find out where that sector is and try to minimize putting those things we talked about earlier, the plants, the water fountains, the clocks. So try to move it from the west to one of the better areas, like the east for money or the center for relationships. Yeah.
So you can imagine every year it's a...
Yeah. Exactly. And it's also interesting because then it keeps your space fresh.
I know.
And it keeps it dynamic and moving. And in the sense, like, if it helps with the overall flow, then it just will make things easier. Yeah, it's kind of like a spring cleaning also, right? Yeah.
Okay, so with fiery tempers more likely this year, which areas of the home should families focus on to protect relationships, health, and harmony? Which areas of the home should people focus on to activating luck, health, and prosperity?
So let's start with, if you think of your home like a grid, let's start in the northwest. The northwest is going to be the sickness star. Sickness meaning if you activate it, you may have unwanted illnesses and whatnot. The north is going to be for leaders, for movement, for travel. So activate that if you want to stimulate movement upward, movement forward. If you want to like travel or migrate, that would also be a sector to activate. And then in the northeast, this is for your career. So if you want, and then even for students, so if you want to study well, if you want to pass that exam, if you want to move forward with your job, that's the area to activate. And then let's go to the the west, which we talked about earlier. That's a conflict direction. Again, minimize or subdue the energy there so that you won't get into fights or quarrels. The center is going to be for relationships. So this is where you want to activate if you want to get along with people, if you want to find your loved one, and so on. And then on the east, this is going to be for money. Activate that. And east and southeast, that's for money and prosperity, not just for this year, but for future years as well. And two other areas to avoid, find out where the southwest is. That's what we call the robbery or unexpected loss. So these are things that are already there but then taken from you. So it could be like that job offer, it could be that promotion, it could be that contract. You have it and all of a sudden it gets taken away. So that's the robbery energy. And then in south, that's the area to avoid the most this year. That's what we call the disaster energy, which is plans not going as expected, things not going as you thought they would. And it's also what we call the Tai Sui direction for the year. In the zodiac, the horse is actually representing the south. And the way it works is you have to kind of appease or placate the Tai Sui or Grand Duke of the year. And then, and by doing that, it's by keeping it quiet, don't renovate, don't make any noise much there, so that it would reduce some of that not so favorable energy.
So when you say activate, do you stay there or do you put something there?
Yeah, so you can stay there, you can put things like the ones we talked about earlier, and you can even do things like putting things that would help the element. And this is where it gets into that click down of one area would have, for example, a strong earth energy. So to activate it, say it's by putting the color red. But then on the flip side, let's say the sickness energy, which is in the northwest, you don't want the color red there. Yeah. So we would say like avoid the color red in the northwest and the south, because that would activate these not so pleasant energies. So it's by using colors, it's by using elements like, for example, the round shape would be representing metal. That would be good to put in the south and the northwest, because metal energy helps subdue some of that not so good energies there. And then something simple that they can put as well is if they have Feng Shui items, they can just get it, and it would be good for multiple, for many years. They could just move it around. And if it's something for sickness or if it's something for relationships, just find out where the sector is and put that Feng Shui item there for the year.
So maybe to add, like can you share like top 3 or 5 Feng Shui items that are easily accessible or bought?
Sure. So like here in our shop, I'd say our most popular items, we say cure first, meaning address the not so good energies first. So like for the northwest, we have an item called the longevity peach. And this traces its roots back to, in Chinese mythology, the peach was said to be the peach of immortality. So this one would help with long life, with getting over sicknesses and so on. The longevity peach is one. The disaster energy, we usually recommend what we call our cleansing bowl. So it's a bowl where you would ring it or gong it 6 times because the sound would help dissipate some of that not so good energy.
So do you ring it like once a day in the morning?
Once a day, 6 times, exactly. So usually that for some of our clients, they say it's a way to welcome the day in with it's a very pleasing sound. And then for the robbery energy, we have what we call our hippos. The hippo actually, hippopotamus, is translated to English from Latin as a water horse. So it has an element of water, so it helps dissipate some of that robbery energy. So those are the popular ones. And then in terms of attracting money, which is also very popular, it's a version of a money catcher. So it's kind of a payout, but this one's a little bit more powerful. It's a double because it catches it from the front and the back. So it from all directions, money will be caught. So it's our double money catcher.
I think that's your bestseller.
Actually. And we also have one called Fat. It's kind of like if you look at it, it's a natural mineral that is also good for attracting money. You can put it in the prosperity or wealth location or in your vault if you have it, and that one's good for getting money as well.
We'll take note of those. Is it advisable to give it as gifts, or you have to buy it for yourself?
Actually, what we find is, and this is in Chinese culture or Filchi culture, giving gifts is good because, one, you're giving grace to someone else, and the universe is going to find its way back to you. So what we find is like for couples, they buy it for each other.
Oh.
So
this goes within us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the husband needs this, wife needs this. So like, okay, I'll buy this for you, you buy this for me. So in that way, it's they get it, but it's also as giving gifts. Yeah. So yeah, I think if you have a loved one and you know that they need that, a lot of moms get it for their kids as well, especially things for studying, things to help them with exams.
I need that for my kids.
Yeah.
And maybe for us, when we give to our parents, what do you suggest?
Yeah, usually for parents, the biggest, the most pressing concern usually for parents are for health. So it would be the peach. It's also, another thing is what we call like a safety medallion, which is a small item that you can put in your pouch or in your bag, or you can put in your wallet, and it's something you can bring with you. So at least even while you're traveling, when you're not at home, it's going to protect you.
Last question about it. Does it have to be like blessed or something, or you just buy it from the store?
Yeah, so usually for us, we energize the items. So it goes through a process where we infuse energy into it, and then at least from there, it's already like every item has its own energy fields, you know, crystals, metals, etc. So the more it's energized with the right positive vibrations, and the better. Yeah.
So you energize it right away, or when someone buys it, then you energize
It's already
it?
energized. So at least when they come in,
It's ready.
yeah, exactly. So, and then sometimes we say like of all the different items, like we also have amber, for example. Amber is good for mental clarity, for
Is
peace
that
of
the one
mind.
outside? I
Yes,
see a lot
yeah,
of it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Each of those have a different vibration. So we say, okay, choose one, you know, hold it because it may have a different interaction. Whatever feels right, that's the one for you. So.
Okay. So we're moving on. Actually, this is kind of associated with it. What are the easiest feng shui fixes families can do before or during Chinese New Year without even buying anything new?
Sure. So when we talk about feng shui, it has to do, yeah, with the placement of things. And we get asked this question a lot, like, you know, is it tied to the zodiac sign? So the zodiac is really what we call like heavenly luck or the universe luck. So this is like your energy DNA that's imprinted on you when you're born. So based on your time of birth, your day, you're going to be, say, the day of the fire horse and the wood rabbit, for example. And in that respect, feng shui will really need to have to do with what we call earth luck, which is your surroundings, how you arrange your home, how you put things that will stimulate or subdue energies, how you even construct it from the get-go, where you live. So all of that would be the placement. So on the feng shui side, which has to do with how you know, arrange the home or what you put. One thing we recommend is having flowers for fresh flowers for your home or office. So Chinese New Year is really like the beginning of spring. So this would stimulate that your home is very lively and that spring is blooming and good energies are coming in. The other thing we say is, and you see this in different homes or offices, what they call couplets. So spring couplets where there's already writings. In the olden days, they would write it themselves. And now you can get it in different places where they would put that at the doors, and then that would welcome luck in as well.
Any specific writing?
Anything with like tidings of good luck and prosperity. And then in terms of things as well, and this is something with you, it's a good reason or excuse to buy new clothes. Yeah, they say this is the old clothes which had the energies from the previous year will be left behind, and then the new clothes which will be like a blank slate of energy. That's what you should wear on the first day of the year in particular. Yeah.
Okay, so next we'll move on to timing, rituals, and remedies. So 2026 is also considered a no spring year, which without a lapchun. What does this mean for people planning weddings, new businesses, or major life changes, and how can this be remedied?
Sure. So there's this notion on the Chinese calendar, and lapchun, which is really the Lunar New Year is the second new moon after the solstice. So the solstice is around December 21. So if you look at the lunar calendar in December 21, count the first and then the second new moon. That's going to be Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. And it moves around. It could be like this year, it's a little later, like Feb 17. Some years, like last year, would be like late January. So that's kind of the first data point. The second data point is what's called the solar new year. Solar new year really is more fixed because, I just get a little nerdy. In astronomy, it's called the ecliptic longitude. So it's the point of reference is the Earth, and you're looking at the sun. It moves a certain number of degrees as the year progresses. When it hits certain milestones, that's when it moves to what's called a new solar term. So every month is about there's 24 in the year. So that one's fixed around February 4. This is like they call this start of spring, which is kind of the middle of the solstice, winter solstice, and the spring equinox, which is the shortest day of the year, and when day and night are equal. Right in the middle is Feb 4. So if the Lunar New Year falls after Feb 4, that's called the blind year, Laptun. If it falls before Feb 4, that's called a normal year. Interestingly, if we look at data for the past 20 years, 10 of those years have been laptun, 10 have not. So it's not a rare, it's not like a blue moon, it's not a rare occurrence. You flip a coin, it could be a blind year. From that regard, what we say is there's that notion. The other notion is if it is, for example, a laptun, because that's what people believe and it could affect their energy, we say then look at the specific date of when you're planning to do something for a wedding, for moving house, for groundbreaking, contract signing, etc. And then you can use that to help bring you the luck for that particular endeavor that you're going to do. So yeah, that's blending a little bit of astronomy and astrology together, and at least that can help you with your planning for the events for the year. And you can get that from our version of the Tongsing, our diary. Exactly, it's on there. So
It's clear that 2026 is a year for bold decisions. But as Patrick mentioned, the home is the heart of that energy. To take that conversation a step further, we want to look at how a community can actually foster that growth and momentum. Here to share that vision behind Fortune Hill is Senior Project Development Manager, Apple de los Reyes. Chinese New Year is traditionally a time for reflection, renewal, and making long-term decisions. So from a development perspective, what makes Fortune Hill a home that resonates with families who value legacy, balance, and lasting prosperity?
So when we think about the coming of a new year, we often think about fresh starts, reflecting on where we've been and where we're headed. And that's really the essence of what Fortune Hill is about. So actually, before this became a residential development, this site was where the Philinvest Group's business took root and grew. So it's a place really tied to the company's journey, essentially where the foundation of its success was built. Today, it has been reimagined into a more personal residential address. It turned a place where a business once thrived into a place where families can prosper too. So it's symbolic of the Gutianon family's journey of success that happened here at Fortune Hill. So Fortune Hill was ultimately built on the idea of progress over time for families who are thinking about the future as much as the present. It's a home that they can grow into, make memories in, and one day pass on.
I remember passing by this place for more than like 2 or 3 decades. So it's nice to see it grow from an office to a home, a residential place. And I love the name Fortune Hill.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because it really has to do with, again, the success of the company. So they wanted to sort of commemorate that and, grow it into a personal space, right?
And passing on the fortune, the luck, the Feng Shui to the residents. So it's such a lovely name to give. San Juan is often described as a city that balances heritage and modern living. How does Fortune Hill's location influence the everyday rhythm, convenience, and lifestyle of the families who choose to live here?
So San Juan has a very distinct pace, It's established, familiar, and it still has that old Manila feel, It's very quietly refined, and that really shapes everyday life at Fortune Hill. In Feng Shui, Fortune Hill actually sits at the belly of the dragon, offering a very deliberate kind of proximity. You're just minutes away from the Ortigas CBD, which makes work and daily commitments practical, but the development itself sits far enough away to maintain a calmer, more residential feel. So that separation creates a sense of privacy and exclusivity already, but without sacrificing, of course, the convenience. Families are close to schools like LaSalle Green Hills and Xavier, Cardinal Santos Medical Center, and everyday lifestyle destinations, while still coming home to a quieter environment. Now, that balance naturally leads to a better daily rhythm. Less time spent on the road means more time at home, more shared meals, more breathing room, and more moments together. So it's city living that feels calm, connected, and easy to settle into.
Can I just say you got everything right? Because I live in this area for, as I mentioned, decades. So that's what we love about San Juan, and I'm happy that Fortune Hill is here. So it's really accessible, and it gives that private space after work and after school.
Yeah, so we really embraced that, that location that's allowing us to be tucked away still in a quieter environment, but just minutes away really from...
At the same time, accessible to almost everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, so when people talk about an ideal home, they often mention a sense of balance. So between work and rest, we've talked about that, and privacy and community. So how do Fortune Hill's amenities support that sense of harmony and overall well-being?
Okay, so the idea of balance was very intentional here at Fortune Hill, especially when it came to the amenities. The goal was to offer residents a lot of everyday conveniences without making the development feel overwhelming. Now, there are spaces where you can slow down and recharge, and at the same time, shared areas where families can spend time together or casually connect with neighbors. Because the project is more intimate, everything feels close, easy to access, and genuinely usable. So Feng Shui principles also guided the layout, of course, helping create a natural sense of balance throughout the property. In the end, the amenities at Fortune Hill make daily life simpler, more comfortable, and more enjoyable, which supports the overall well-being in a very practical way.
So I was able to go around the area, and the first thing that I love was the lobby. So it's so open, it's so welcoming. And then the amenities, I agree. They're little, not so, just the right pocket spaces and areas.
Yes.
And there's one for every like generation.
Yeah. So it feels very intimate pa rin, right? Even if it's like an amenity that can be used by our residents, like a common amenity, the way it's designed and the number of facilities or amenities that we have makes it so much so that the people can actually still feel comfortable and have that privacy still.
Fortune Hill recently received recognition from the International Property Award, so congratulations for that. And what does this acknowledgement say about the project's approach to design, quality, and long-term value?
So Fortune Hill's recognition from the Asia Pacific Property Awards reinforces the strength of the project as a whole. Now, these awards, they look at developments holistically, from planning and design to execution, quality, and long-term use. So really, the acknowledgement or the nod isn't just about aesthetics, but about how well the project was thought through. So for buyers, this gives them the added confidence. No? It shows that Fortune Hill meets international benchmarks and that key decisions from scale to layout to overall quality were made with long-term value and livability in mind. No, it supports the project's appeal, not just as a home today, but really as a property that holds its value over time.
So which leads us to the next question. So for viewers who are considering a new chapter for their family this year and want to better understand what Fortune Hill offers, how can they experience the property firsthand?
So to mark the Chinese New Year, we're opening our doors on February 21 for a special open house. No, it's an opportunity for families to explore the residences, discover the amenities, and take their time getting to know the community. So details of the event will be flashed on the screen. So again, we are inviting interested buyers for a special open house on February 21.
There's clearly so much to look forward to with Fortune Hill in 2026. Apple, thank you for showing us how that vision of growth is physically taking shape at Fortune Hill. It's the perfect backdrop for everything we've been discussing today. We're going to head back to Patrick now to tie these rituals and bold moves together as we continue this episode of The Sit Down. Okay. So for viewers watching this right before Lunar New Year, what are the 3 must-do rituals to welcome the fire horse energy properly?
Sure. So in terms of how to, what to have at the home and how to prepare, apart from what we mentioned earlier, a lot have to do with food, actually, because so one is about rice or your grain of choice, because some people might be low carb. So it could be quinoa, etc. But
now you can use quinoa na.
Yeah, anything that would help nourish you. Because if you're gluten intolerant, then it's actually going to be a deterrent to you. So whatever a grain of choice, and grain really signifies that that's going to be the abundance, that something you eat every day. So wherever your bin is of your grain of choice, have an ang pao with 168 pesos in there. The ilio pa, which is the one way to prosperity. So have that, and then so it's almost like it's overflowing with the ang pao on there. And then in terms of fruits, we recommend 5 fruits. It's a little different from the Western New Year. They say 12 for 1 month of the year. This one, it's only 5. It has to do with the 5 elements. It has to do with just the number 5 being like the stable number. So we recommend any round fruit in even numbers. And depending on the size, it could be 2 or 4 or 6, however you want to arrange it. So some of the fruits we recommend are the pomelo. That's for cleansing. The oranges, like the kiat, which is more for money, for luck, prosperity. The pineapple, the onglai, which is more for welcoming luck. Apples, which are the pingguo, which is kind of like for peace of mind, harmony. Exactly. Yeah. And then the homophones, and then lastly the dragon fruit, because this signifies like victory or dragon's breath. And then if you have problems finding those, it could be any round fruit in even numbers.
Where do you put them?
Put it on your table, the main table where you would have. Exactly. Or you could put it like somewhere that's maybe adjacent. That's the first thing you see when you come in.
And all in one tray? Or?
Yes, we'd recommend all in one tray. And then the next day, when you're already, when it's already New Year's Day, so you greet everyone. The I guess superstition or the belief is don't greet someone when they're in bed, because they're gonna be lazy and don't want to get out of bed for the rest of the year. So wait till they got out of bed and you wish them Happy New Year. And then this is the time to give ang pao. And traditionally it was by the parents to give to the unmarried children, but now it's really anyone can give ang pao to anyone. And we often get asked the question how much to put. We say any amount that you're comfortable with. If it ends in 8, so it could be 168, it could be 88, 888, or whatever amount.
It has to end in 8, or it can be 800, 8,000.
We recommend ending in 8.
Okay, so there should be coins in it.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. So that's for the ang pao in terms of giving. And they say, and this is when they say it's better to give than to receive. Interestingly, I read in China, there's instead of the physical ang pao, like for WeChat, there's the virtual ang pao. There was a study made actually back in 2017 by a group of, and these were like, some of them were from MIT, University of Colorado, from Tsinghua University, about the movement of ang pao between, so there were 2017, 14 billion virtual ang paos given. So they tried to trace based on the data, like who was giving what. One interesting thing was like the south of China is known to be a little bit more prosperous than the north. They noticed a lot of movement, outflow from the south to the north. A disproportionate amount, exactly. And then there are some other findings as well as to the demographics. But one conclusion they found there was it tended to bring the groups closer together, because sometimes this could be in group chats. Like, WeChat would be like just like Viber or WhatsApp. So when they give each other gifts through this app, it actually brought the group closer together.
It starts a conversation again.
Yeah.
I mean, even lalo na a long time you haven't talked to them and then you send out.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy because you can do it virtually and so on. So anyway, we'll see if at some point it's going to be done here. Here it's still the traditional, you have the red envelope, which is also nice because you get to keep it and so on. Yeah. But that's the whole thing about ang pao. Yeah.
Hopefully we have it now, because us parents, the kids now ask for
Gcash.
If not Gcash, it's for their games, like they buy.
Yeah, exactly.
So it would be nice if it's
the Roblox and the
yes, if it's presented in a red ang pao, would be nice too.
Here, the business idea. There you go.
Okay, so we'll move on to stories from practice, human and engaging. So over the years, you must have encountered many memorable client moments. So that's almost 30 years. Are there any that stand out? Maybe something funny, something strange, or unexpected?
Sure. So I'd say for those 4 different aspects, in terms of like the most popular question we get asked. So for health, it's a lot of it has to do with their health or their parents' health. In terms of career, the most popular question we get asked these days is, when can I retire? So what I tell them is, well, you can retire tomorrow, but then your money luck will be not, there's going to be potential that won't be actualized. So what we recommend when we do the reading is we can look forward to see like when their money luck is still strongest, and then when it will start to wane a little bit, because another energy like more for relationships or for learning is going to take place. So we say, try to go with that energy where you can time it.
Get the most out of it.
Exactly. Maximize. And then you can plan ahead. So like if it's 3 years, plan for your retirement or early retirement then, and then you can do something else. And at that point, you're working because you want to, not because you have to. It could be from passive income, etc. So we get asked a retirement question a lot. And in terms of money, because on the side I also do finance, apart from saying, okay, they have money luck this year, I get asked more from the other side, like, okay, where should I invest? Should it be in equity? Should it be in commodities,
Real
etc.?
estate,
Real
yeah.
estate, properties, yeah. Because and then in real estate, like what's going to be a better area? So we get asked that question quite a bit as well. And then on relationships, it's am I compatible with my current girlfriend or boyfriend? But what we get asked even more is from the parents, especially the mom. Is my daughter good with the boyfriend? And vice versa, is my son good with the girlfriend? So we get asked that question quite a lot. And then later on, sometimes over time, the children actually come to us already. And then they ask, oh, am I good with my boyfriend, my fiance? So then that's where we give them a data-driven approach, because we say, this is what it says. At the end of the day, it's up to you if you want to stay together, but just some green flags and maybe some red flags to watch out for in terms of you're maybe compatible here, but maybe not good to work together. Or it could be that you may have like quarrels here and there, and this nature of quarrel will be more unspoken. So you have to like learn to know the unspoken, the nonverbal cues a little bit. Some might be very verbal. So we give them like a nature of what their relationship's gonna look like. Then they can make an informed decision.
At least they're more aware. Like, okay, this is what I was told about you, so I'm gonna take a step back.
Yeah, and at that point, at least you can understand their partner a little bit more as well. Because I say, okay, your energies are good, but then sometimes it's too alike. And then they say, yeah, that's when they start clashing. So then they know how to balance that a little bit. Yeah,
That helps. It's like sort of like a marriage counseling before getting married.
Sometimes we get asked like, I remember one time we got asked like, am I compatible with my partner? So we're looking, and then they said, oh, just curious, like how long have you guys been together? Like, oh, we're actually about to get married. And then,
So you saw something.
So I said, okay, fortunately you guys are compatible because the wedding's like next month, right? Yeah. So we get asked a lot of questions about relationships, even like relationships for business partners. Am I gonna be good partners with so and so? Because the worst thing is to see your friends and you want to get into a partnership. Sometimes you can be friends, but you won't be good business partners. On the flip side, you can work well together, but you won't be exactly BFFs.
You might end up,
and
conflict.
And the best is like you can be friends and work together. That's like going to be the best combination. And we can advise them like, okay, it's maybe good for this person to work with, maybe not this person. So at least they have that awareness. It's another lens, another data point for them to consider.
Maybe get someone to come in and
exactly. Like for example, we had one that had a whole org chart, and we looked at about 20 people, not even knowing their job titles. And I said, based on this small group is who you're going to be working well with. The others actually not as much. And I said, oh, perfect, because in my org chart, these are my direct reports. And these are the ones reporting up to them. I said, okay, just work
with them.
Horse everything through them, and then everything, And we got like, in terms of like on the corporate side, business, and this one is actually based in Europe and South America. So it was going to be like a distributed workforce. We get corporate inquiries as well and consultations from multinational companies, like international banks that have an office here in Singapore, and we do like their whole office. And then on the corporate side, I also do like pie charts in terms of how their energies are. And the way I frame it there is it's kind of like Myers-Briggs or StrengthsFinder, or all these other corporate frameworks of how people work together. And I say it's a different way that you can think about elements. You want to have a diversity of elements. You don't want to have too much fire or too much water or too much metal. You want to have a diversity, a balance in your office.
So do you suggest when do these people, when they approach you for their concerns, like when is the best time? Before they start up? Or because you've said like some would present org charts. What does that mean? Is it already set, or are they just planning?
Sometimes at the onset, like that would be the best. Just so at least they can understand. Or if they're going to like start a new role, if they're gonna have a new boss. Sometimes we get asked like, can I work with this employee? And then coincidentally, we got asked by the employee who's also our client, can I work with this boss?
Oh, fun.
So at least we're able to give them, again, for me, that's what I like about our kind of like our, on the other side, the data approach, because we can say, here's what the data says. It's up to you, but then it's just going to be easier or harder. At the end of the day, it's going to be your decision, but we can present you with what you need to know. So yeah, it's dealing with all the different concerns is definitely interesting, because what we learned at the end of the day is everyone, no matter how wealthy you might seem from the outside, no matter how successful, no matter how everyone has their own cross to bear, so to speak. Everyone is going through something.
So, one follow-up question with regards to that. When do you think should a person, like a client, go to you? Like how regular, or when, what time of the year? If there's no concerns like these, like you mentioned.
Yeah, we usually see our clients at least once a year. So around this time, this is kind of our busy time, and it's almost like a yearly reunion where we see them, and then we see, we get an update of their issues. And the nice thing is, like, even with my sister Princess and with my mom, some of them have been coming for decades now, and we're actually seeing their kids come as well. Sometimes the kids on their own. So, and for the kids, it's what college course should I take? Once I graduate, what job should I take? At some point, when should I get married? This is the right partner. And then we have one case where we have 3 generations.
Did they all go together?
No, so this one was like, it started in Mandarin. They would go to my mom and Princess, and then at some point the daughter was brought. And then now we saw her again. Now she brought her daughter. So it's like 3 generations. Yeah. So it's nice, you kind of see the continuity. Yeah.
Can you also share some of those moments when a client came back genuinely grateful, saying Feng Shui helped change their situation?
Yeah, I think for their, just seeing them year over year, like, for example, like we see some, one year they're planning for a business, and then when they come back, oh, they already launched it. Yeah. And then like, now who should they hire, and then how should they expand? Or sometimes they're thinking about getting into a relationship with someone, and they're broke up, they're not sure if they should get back together, and then we give them advice about, and then they end up getting back together the next year. So those are rewarding, because then you can kind of see that, again, based on their decision making, this was something that they considered, this is something that came in helpful for them, and at the end of the day, it made their lives move forward. Yeah, so those are rewarding, where you're able to let them learn more about themselves and whatever issue or problem they're faced with.
So let's talk about the other set of people that are not too familiar with Feng Shui, because some of them would think it's just moving furniture, it's just buying stuff to put in their houses. So how do you explain its relevance in a digital, fast-paced world like now?
Yeah, so you can think of it like 3 different areas. One is, it's all about timing and flow. So it's not, so you're going to have the arrangement of things for sure, but going back to our framework earlier, where there's those types of luck. So the triad of luck, as we like to call it, there's that heavenly luck, which is something you're born with, or the large cosmic forces like year of the horse, year of the rabbit, etc. Those things are almost immutable. So just understanding and knowing how to work with it. And then there's the Feng Shui luck, which has to do with where you live, how you place things. The third, which some philosophers say might be the most important, is what they call human luck. This is your effort. This is your mindset. This is how you approach it. So you can have the best inborn luck. You can have the best home you're living in, but if you don't do anything about it, someone with worse, or not as good luck could overtake you in whatever they're doing. So use that to propel you going forward, so that it's not just about, again, like how you arrange things. It's all of those things in concert that's going to bring, that's a right recipe for you to move forward. The other thing as well is thinking about it as not just one individual thing, but as a system. Everything affects everything else. So if you do one thing here, like for your home, but then you don't do the other things, or you do things for your relationship, but you don't think about your health or think about your career, all of those things have to be brought at the same time. And at the end of the day, what we find is, for business owners, for people with careers or in relationships, it's, all else being equal, it'll give them that additional insight that other people may not have. That might be the missing variable, the missing ingredient that's going to propel them to success. Yeah.
So it's very holistic.
Exactly. It's all about system thinking. Nothing really works in isolation, and everything should move in concert.
So how can Feng Shui be realistically applied in Filipino homes, condos, or shared family spaces? So in a more practical approach.
Yeah, so I'd say some people want to get like the perfect home, and we'd say,
It's hard.
yeah, like there's that saying in the corporate world, perfect is the or great is the enemy of good, something like that. So just try to aim for as much as you can a nice, easygoing flow. Again, by arranging things or putting the lucky items and then knowing like what energies are going to be good for you, all of that. So if you can have all of that in concert, and again, you can work toward perfection, but just start somewhere. That's going to be good. And then the other thing is like look around the home. There are already things that you can do, and it's just a matter of moving things or just a matter of placing things in the right places. And at the end of the day, it's all about mindset as well. If you have, you could give the same two different people very similar luck forecasts. The one with the victim mentality or with a negative mindset or what you call here nega, right? They're gonna have a very different viewpoint versus the one with a very positive mindset that's gonna see it more as an opportunity rather than a challenge. So if you combine the external with the internal, that's going to be a good way to go forward.
You said that it's all about the mindset also. If you're lucky, if it's your good year, but if you don't think that way, you're going to be at the losing end. So maybe a tip on how do you change that mindset? Because some people are kind of wired that way.
Yeah, that's a good point in terms of because how you react to things could be really driven by your life experiences, by the people around you, and so on. So if you surround, well, number one, if you surround yourself with positive people, with people that will help you grow, that they say, you know, when you're with people and if you talk more about other people than ideas and things, and then maybe you're not in the right group, because if you're not with them, they're gonna talk about you. Yeah. So surround yourself with good people. And then this one on the physiological, the way our brains are wired, to get a little nerdy for a little bit. There's this concept called the limbic system. Limbic is really like where all the emotions are based. So if you feel any like immediate reaction to something, be it joy or rage or jealousy, that's where it's gonna live. And if you think of that movie Inside Out, that's where it's
We
going.
all love that.
Yeah, that's where it's going to happen first. So, and it's neutral. You just feel it. You can't really control it. The trick is, they say in the front of the brain, the prefrontal cortex. That's where your decisions are made. That's the control center. So it's up to you to recognize, okay, I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling happy or feeling angry and feeling jealous. Like then you start inspecting, and then you become like a observer, and then you process it. Okay, like road rage is a great example. If I do this, if I chase this guy who cut me off, something might happen to my car, to me, etc. So that's a prefrontal cortex thing. Is it worth the risk or not? And then you make the right decision. So we all have that ability in us to basically, and then, you know, some practical things there, they say, take 3 deep breaths, take a walk, so you'll sleep on it. Again, with that impulsive energy for the year, try to move beyond the base energy, which again, physiologically is right there, and move the 2 to 3 inches forward to your prefrontal cortex, so then you can make the right decision.
Think about Inside Out and think of the control center.
Exactly. Like, you know, do you let your emotions control you, or do you control your emotions?
Which also applies to your earlier talk that you said it's going to be a more impulsive year, so best to do what you just mentioned.
Exactly. Be a little bit more mindful of that.
So for people who feel Feng Shui is intimidating, because it can get intimidating, what's the simplest principle they should remember?
Yeah, for me, I think it's all about clarity and about energy. So the more clear you are on what you're doing and why you're doing it, and it's not just about, you know, following it blindly, and then you understand it's all about energy flow, then that's really, for me, the base concept of what Feng Shui and the astrology metaphysics part is, because then you're able to understand what's coming down, and then you're able to harness it in the right way. And it really gets as simple as that. They say Feng Shui is really wind and water. Feng, wind, Shui, water. So there's a nice passage that when translated to English, it says, it's all about knowing where the wind blows and how the water flows. And if you go with the flow, that's the key.
So are there common feng shui myths or practices during Chinese New Year that people should stop believing in?
Yeah. So, well, one myth is like there's like a one thing cure all. Like if you do this, everything's going to be lucky for everyone. That's not true. So, as mentioned earlier, like when we talk about luck, there's going to be different signs that are going to be lucky for money, lucky for love. So, knowing what those different signs are and harnessing that, that's going to be better than just saying this thing will be lucky for me for everyone. And then the other thing is one of the rituals they say is about cleaning.
Yes.
So you do your spring cleaning prior. People say you should stop cleaning after New Year. So the truth is they say do not clean during New Year Day itself. Do not sweep the luck out. Do not wash clothes. You're washing the luck away. So you can do it before and after, but just don't do it during the day because people think after New Year I should stop cleaning. Now, just that day itself.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and then do it afterwards. So those are some myths that hopefully people can get illuminated on.
That's cleared. Yeah. Okay. So without going into all the 12 signs, who are the big winners for 2026 and which signs should be more cautious of clashing with Tai Sui? I think, just to recap it.
Sure, yeah. So in terms of wealth, that would be the rabbit, the horse, the pig, the rooster. In terms of career, it would be also the rabbit, the goat, the dog. And then in terms of leadership, that would be the rat, the ox, the horse, and all above average luck. For relationships, it's the ox, the rooster, the snake, the goat. So all of those that you can really harness, all the good energies. And then what you mentioned, Tai Sui, these are the signs that are clashing. And there are like Tai Sui rituals you can do to help appease that. So the ones that are clashing with the Tai Sui especially is the rat. That's the conflict or the chong of the horse. They should have, the Tai Sui rituals. The other ones are the ox, the rabbit, and also the horse. The horse is what we call a self-penalty, and there's only like 4 of them. But if the horse meets the horse, it's also like a Tai Sui. Yeah. So those are the 4 that should be doing the rituals for Tai Sui for the year. Yeah.
When you say rituals, what kind?
Yeah, we have something that we do as well to help with our clients. So for those who do it, we have like a process where we send them things, they send it back, and then they're able to follow some instructions. And this is supposed to really appease. Like think of the Tai Sui as the boss for the year. So they come in like the CEO, and you want to make sure you're in good terms with the CEO. So this is what you do. And then if you're in good terms, the year should be better.
Okay, you're safer.
Correct.
Yeah. So what colors, elements, or symbols are considered lucky this Chinese New Year, and how can people use them subtly in daily life?
Sure. For colors, it's going to be your fire. So the color of the year would be red and red tones. So pink, orange, fuchsia, etc. So that would be like the pink or the red tones. Yeah. And then for elements, it's all about fire. Wood is actually the element that feeds fire in the right, so that you don't have too much. But wood is seen to be like a element that would be good as well. And then as you mentioned earlier, because there's a lack of water, having like the water element to help balance out the fire would also be good. So and the ways you can do that in your everyday lives would be through colors, would be through simple things you have around the home like plants, fountains, etc. Those are practical ways that you can incorporate these colors and elements into your life.
So I'm just curious because like it was announced the cloud dancer was the color of the year. And then after a few weeks, it came out teal. So how did that, is that because of the water element?
No, so that's Pantone, right? Yeah. So they're a Western company.
No, but the teal was, somebody, I forgot, hindi ko na research, but they said it's also the lucky color of the year. Yeah. So no to that.
You'll have to ask them.
Yeah, I know, but so it's more red, right? Yeah. Okay. So if viewers remember only one piece of advice to carry them through the year of the fire horse, what would it be?
So I'd say if there's something to think about, I would say pace your fire. Everyone has the proverbial fire inside us, and there's a lot of that this year where you want to be more energetic, where you want to do things, where you want to be impulsive. But the key thing is it may be unsustainable. You may burn yourself out. So just pace it so that things happen the way and when it should. So that's one piece of advice I could say for this year of the Fire Horse.
Okay. So yeah, that's it. So last question na. So if you were to have your own the sit-down interview, who would you like to interview and why?
So that's an interesting question. So this could be anyone in the history of the world. Okay. So for me, the yin and the yang, I would say one on the concepts for Feng Shui, for, in terms of the Chinese side. I would love to have a sit down with Confucius. There's many different philosophers, but I would say he's probably the most influential in terms of just a lot of his analects and a lot of his sayings are still repeated today. So there's just that wisdom that permeates throughout the years. So I would say he would be one. And then the other one, more on the Western side. So this would be more on data and more on math and more. I'd like to have a sit down with Pythagoras.
Wow.
So he's famous for his theorem, which was actually in reality discovered before him. He just made it popular, but he just instituted this way of thinking, and he actually had a large following, not just in Greece, but beyond that had this way of how can they solve problems with math and system thinking. So I think if I got to talk to those two individuals, that would be nice. And then third, I think I'd like to have a sit down with you. We've seen each other throughout the years and so on. And I love just to see as a prominent Filipino-Chinese member of our community, how a lot of these things have affected you, your family, your relationships, and more from the practical perspective of how it's like to be a mom, a wife, a working professional, incorporating a lot of these. So.
Okay, thank you.